It is very hard for archaeologists to explain how that was done using purely leverage and mechanical advantage. You can say, oh, perhaps they built a ramp and hauled the stones up the ramp.
For thousands of years, historians have struggled to explain how the ancient Egyptians carved some of the hardest stones on Earth with only copper tools and simple abrasives. How could they achieve such precise, smooth cuts in granite without iron, steel, or advanced machinery? The answer isn't just hidden in dusty texts or theories, it's etched deep into the stone itself. What I have discovered challenges everything we thought we knew about ancient technology and hints at a forgotten mastery of engineering that was far ahead of its time. The puzzle of granite precision. The heart of the mystery lies in the astonishing precision with which the ancient Egyptians shaped granite, one of the hardest stones found on Earth. Conventional wisdom claims this was done with copper tools, wooden hammers, and sand as an abrasive. Yet, when you look closely at the stone surfaces and tool marks, the story simply doesn't fit. The grooves and cuts are so smooth, curved, and uniform that they resemble the work of high-speed machinery rather than primitive hand tools. Granite ranks around 6 on the Mohs hardness scale, while copper barely reaches 3, meaning copper tools should only scratch the surface at best. Yet, the depths and clarity of many granite carvings far exceed what soft metal could achieve. Archaeologists have long described these cuts as crude or primitive, but the more detailed evidence begs for an explanation beyond slow, repetitive chipping. There's something about these grooves that hints at a technique or technology lost to us. It's not just the smooth walls inside granite chambers, but also the perfectly circular and evenly spaced striations that challenge current understanding. These are found in drill holes and sarcophagi interiors, showing deep curves and right angles that suggest rotary cuts, as if carved by a lathe or core drill. The marks are concentric and consistent, an engineering feat that hand tools could not produce with such regularity. This raises the question, how did craftsmen without iron, steel, or electric power shape these stones? Even experiments conducted in modern times fail to replicate this precision and efficiency, using only the tools officially credited to the Egyptians. Attempts to cut smooth, curved surfaces with copper tubes filled with quartz sand required hours to produce barely noticeable marks. The energy and time investment needed under those conditions would have been enormous, making it highly unlikely the Egyptians used such methods for large-scale projects. This unresolved issue has kept researchers puzzled for decades. The lack of direct evidence showing advanced machinery fuels further intrigue. There are no surviving drill bits made of iron or diamond, no ancient mechanical lathes identified, and no written records describing powerful tools capable of such precision. Despite this absence, the physical evidence etched into granite demands a closer look. The stones themselves carry the story of a technology sophisticated enough to control speed, pressure, and accuracy, yet one whose traces have been lost, recycled, or hidden. This mystery is why some independent researchers, including engineer Chris Dunn and writer Graham Hancock, argues that our understanding of ancient Egyptian technology is incomplete. They suggest that the extraordinary craftsmanship reflects knowledge inherited from a pre-Egyptian civilization with advanced skills in stone cutting. Until more evidence emerges, the puzzle remains firmly embedded in these granite surfaces, inviting us to challenge orthodox views. The question isn't just what tools were used, but how such precision became possible over 4,000 years ago. Had the Egyptians mastered a technology now forgotten, or were they preserving techniques handed down from a forgotten era? This uncertainty drives a deeper dive into key artifacts exhibiting this remarkable precision, starting with one of the most telling examples housed in the Egyptian Museum. These questions lead us directly to an ancient sarcophagus, whose tool marks might hold the best clues yet about the nature of this lost technology. Transitioning to a closer look at the Egyptian Museum's granite sarcophagus reveals details that deepen the mystery and hint at a story much bigger than simple chiseling. Evidence from the Egyptian Museum sarcophagus. Inside the Egyptian Museum in Cairo sits an unfinished granite sarcophagus that defies explanation through traditional archaeological methods. At first glance, it resembles many other coffins from Egypt's Old Kingdom, but its interior tells a different story. Carved from a single block of red Aswan granite, the inside is an engineering marvel, showing tool marks so clean and uniform that they resemble the output of modern industrial machinery. Official accounts maintain that this sarcophagus was shaped using copper tools, wooden hammers, and abrasive sand over 4,000 years ago. Yet the marks discovered inside tell a tale of extraordinary craftsmanship. The grooves are deep, smooth, and precisely curved, with sharp right angles and symmetrical patterns that look as if a high-speed rotary tool was at work. This is far beyond the capability of soft copper tools, barely capable of scratching granite. Researchers studying those tool marks found patterns of concentric spiral lines wrapping neatly around the inner surface. These lines are neither random nor uneven. They hold a consistent rhythm and spacing that suggests the stone was carved by some form of mechanized drilling or lathe-like device. The sarcophagus, frozen in unfinished condition, reveals not just a final product, but a snapshot of a shaping method in action, one that cannot be duplicated easily with known ancient techniques. Repeated experiments with copper tubes filled with quartz sand aimed to replicate these grooves, but the outcomes fell short. Hours of effort only yielded rough, shallow marks, nowhere near the flawless smoothness seen in the sarcophagus. If this method was truly used, completing the interior would have required months of continuous, exhausting drilling for mere inches of depth, an impractical scenario given the scale and urgency of ancient projects. British engineer Chris Dunn's measurements of the spiral descent rates confirmed these observations. The cutting speeds indicated by the tool marks suggested a feed rate impossible for hand-powered copper drills. Achieving such a rate would have required a stable source of rotational torque and speed control, a form of power and precision not accounted for in the official archaeological record. This implies the existence of machinery or techniques far more advanced than previously imagined. Some Egyptologists propose that bow drills or tubular drills combined with hard stone abrasives might explain the marks. Yet even under this theory, the precision and smoothness of the inner walls remain problematic. None of the reconstructed technologies so far have matched the quality found in the sarcophagus, emphasizing the gap between the material evidence and accepted technological explanations. The unfinished state of the sarcophagus is revealing because it captures this technique mid-process, rather than as a polished final artifact. It offers palpable proof that something about the accepted narrative of ancient Egyptian stone cutting is missing, something that could rewrite our understanding of their capabilities. This evidence becomes a starting point for questioning the nature of the tools and methods behind these impossible cuts. This sarcophagus pushes us to examine even smaller details, those found under the microscope, that carries the fingerprints of forgotten technology with uncanny precision. From this large-scale marvel, we descend into the microscopic world of ancient drill holes, where technology's signature might still be traced. Microscopic drilling clues. In the early 1980s, a team at the University of Pennsylvania Museum took a fresh approach to understanding ancient Egyptian stonework by analyzing drill holes found in granite and basalt artifacts. Instead of speculating on the tools used, they made delicate silicone molds of the holes and the stone cores inside them. These molds preserved the exact shapes and textures of the drill marks, allowing scientists to study the evidence without damaging priceless artifacts. What they discovered under the microscope was striking. The drill marks featured uniform, concentric ridges wrapping precisely around the cores, showing consistent patterns that could not have resulted from uneven hand pressure or random tool use. Even more astonishing was the gradual change in spacing between these ridges along the length of the hole, which suggested a controlled adjustment of drilling speed or pressure during operation. Such fine control is common in modern manufacturing, requiring machinery that can sustain steady torque and speed. Ancient hand drills simply could not replicate this level of precision or consistency. The shapes of the holes themselves offered further surprises. The drill holes were not solid bores, but hollow centers created by tubular drilling, where a hollow tube grinds through stone to remove a circular core. Tubular drilling is a technique standard in today's engineering, but it is historically considered a 19th century invention. The fact that this method appears in artifacts over 4,000 years old forces a re-evaluation of ancient Egyptian technology. The calculated rate at which these drills advanced was about 1/10 of an inch per revolution, a remarkable speed when considering the hardness of granite and the materials supposedly used. Copper, even combined with abrasive sand, would deform or melt at such speeds and pressures. The rhythmic, wobble-free striations on these ancient drill holes imply a rotary device powered by stable, mechanical forces, possibly involving weights or vibrations. These patterns are not experimental outliers. They repeat consistently across multiple sites, indicating a standardized technique rather than isolated attempts. Efforts to replicate these microscopic grooves with modern experiments mostly failed. Traditional tools left rough, inconsistent cuts, unable to match the sharpness and smoothness etched in ancient granite cores. This persistent mismatch challenges current archaeological claims and pushes the search toward re-evaluating the nature of the tools and power sources used by ancient craftsmen. The microscopic evidence deepens the mystery, suggesting a technology that combined rotational mechanics, pressure control, and abrasive techniques far beyond the accepted history. This leads naturally to considering where else such precision has left its mark, especially in the vast quarries of Aswan. The story of stone-cutting precision continues with the marks etched in the granite quarries, where colossal monuments began their journey. Quarry marks and the unfinished obelisk. The granite quarries of Aswan stand as some of the most direct evidence of ancient Egyptian stone-cutting methods, revealing physical traces that continue to mystify archaeologists. Among these marks, the unfinished obelisk commands particular attention. This massive monument, lying partially attached to the quarry floor, was abandoned when the stone cracked during its shaping, effectively freezing the cutting process in time. If completed, it would have reached about 42 meters tall and weighed nearly 1,200 tons, making it the largest obelisk ever attempted in Egypt. Surrounding the obelisk's trench, the quarry walls bear parallel grooves in smooth, curved channels that run in consistent directions. These patterns clearly suggest intentional, guided work, rather than random hammering. Archaeologists have generally attributed these grooves to pounding balls, hard volcanic stone spheres used to chip away at granite surfaces. Over 30 pounding balls have been found at the Aswan site, lending support to this traditional explanation. Yet, upon closer inspection, problems arise with the pounding ball theory. The cramped trenches make it nearly impossible to swing these stones effectively or maintain consistent strikes. Constant, heavy pounding would also risk shattering the pounding balls themselves. More puzzling are the smooth, scooped surfaces and curved undercuts found beneath the obelisk's body, features that no handheld hammer or pounding stone could realistically achieve. Engineer Christopher Dunn analyzed these quarry markings and found them inconsistent with random percussion. The surfaces have the appearance of mechanical abrasion, much like the marks left by modern cutting wheels or high-speed grinders. Some grooves curve so precisely they would require controlled rotary or vibrational motion. Dunn concluded that producing such exact curved channels would demand equipment capable of stable torque and angle control. Graham Hancock endorses this view, proposing that these quarry marks are the fingerprints of a lost or forgotten technology. He argues that the consistent uniformity and smoothness point to advanced techniques employed by craftsmen with far more technological skill than traditionally credited. While Egyptologists remain cautious, continuing to favor repetitive hammering combined with sand abrasion, the quarry evidence stubbornly resists simple explanations. This evokes deeper questions. Why are some surfaces so smooth instead of pitted? How did workers manage such precision when manipulating stones of such enormous weight? The shortcomings of the pounding ball model allow the possibility that ancient Egyptian workers inherited or developed powered methods, perhaps linked to rotary mechanics or vibrational tools. Beyond Aswan, similar high-precision tool marks appear across temples and pyramids from Giza to Luxor, suggesting these techniques were widespread. Rather than isolated innovations, these signs hint at a systemic technology that ancient Egyptians consistently applied. The puzzle of the quarry marks thus becomes a window into methods potentially far more advanced than usually imagined. As this line of inquiry unfolds, it invites scrutiny of the tools themselves. We now confront the challenge faced by traditional explanations in accounting for the precision and scale observed in these monumental works. Challenges with traditional explanations. Despite the careful discoveries in granite quarries and artifacts, mainstream archaeology maintains that ancient Egyptians used copper tube drills, bow drills, pounding stones, and abrasive sand to carve granite, quartzite, and basalt. These are some of the hardest stones on Earth, and while these tools represent the known toolkit, they struggle to fully explain the extraordinary precision and efficiency documented. When tested under controlled conditions, these implements consistently underperform compared to the smoothness and speed implied by ancient stonework. Copper, the main metal available, ranks about 3 on the Mohs hardness scale and bends or deforms easily under pressure. No matter how much abrasive sand, made from quartz or corundum, is added, copper tools cannot create the deep, clean cuts seen in granite or basalt without quickly becoming damaged. Replicating the ancient grooves with copper and sand requires immense time and effort, often producing rough surfaces rather than the flawless finishes preserved on archaeological stones. Some researchers have suggested that Egyptians embedded hard mineral grains directly into drill edges, effectively creating composite tools with greater cutting power. This hypothesis would mean pressing quartz or corundum crystals into a copper frame, resembling a primitive diamond-tipped drill. However, there is no direct archaeological evidence of such composite drill bits. No bits with embedded abrasives have been found in museums or excavations, making the argument speculative based on the stone's microscopic wear patterns. The absence of surviving advanced drill tools sparks further questions for Graham Hancock. He points out that, given the number of granite sites, some broken tools made from durable materials should have been discovered by now. Instead, most drills found are small and suitable only for soft stone or woodwork, suggesting either that more robust tools were made from organic materials that have not survived, or that they were somehow recycled or lost. Engineers analyzing ancient drilling emphasize the need for stable drilling motion with continuous pressure to reach the depths and smoothness observed. Weighted drilling systems, where a fixed mass presses the drill down while it rotates, could maintain consistent force, similar to early lathe operations. Tomb paintings depict craftsmen using ropes, pulleys, and bow drills to rotate tools, hinting that rotational control was understood. But archaeological experiments recreating these tools fail to achieve the precision found in ancient quarries. Modern replicas often produce uneven striations, inconsistent hole diameters, and rough inner surfaces, falling short of matching the flawless grooves etched in granite. The significant gap between experimental results and actual artifacts challenges the adequacy of known technologies historically credited to the Egyptians. This inconsistency opens the door to alternative theories about lost or forgotten techniques. Many professionals argue that mastery through persistence, manpower, and abrasive materials suffices to explain ancient stone cutting, emphasizing patience and skill. Yet, even some mainstream researchers acknowledge that certain tool marks, particularly those on drill cores and the unfinished obelisk, do not fully align with what copper and sand can produce, leaving a gap between theory and physical evidence. This growing discrepancy fuels ongoing debate. The inability of traditional explanations to account for speed, precision, and scale invites speculation that Egyptian craftsmen either mastered advanced technology, lost over time, or inherited tools and knowledge from an earlier civilization. As contradictions accumulate, the case for a forgotten chapter in ancient engineering strengthens. From these challenges, the search for a plausible explanation naturally turns toward the possibility of lost technology, methods and tools erased by time but preserved in the stone themselves. The enigmatic evidence carved in Egypt's hardest stones leads us toward a deeper understanding of the civilization that created them. The case for lost technology. Graham Hancock argues that the incredible precision in ancient Egyptian granite work may not have originated in Egypt itself, but from a much older civilization that existed before the end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago. He believes this lost society developed advanced engineering knowledge that was later passed down to early cultures like Egypt and Mesopotamia. Supporting his theory are striking similarities in stonework found across the world. In Egypt, Bolivia's Puma Punku, and India's monolithic temples, where tubular drill holes, perfect joints, and smooth finishes share the same technical style. Hancock suggests these signs point to a shared legacy of advanced craftsmanship that predates recorded history. Instead of imagining high-tech machines, he proposes that ancient builders mastered control over abrasives, vibration, and geometry, using natural forces to achieve precision cutting. Over time, their methods may have faded into myth, leaving later artisans to follow rituals without grasping the original science. This could explain how Egyptian craftsmen produced flawless granite surfaces without evidence of complex machinery. Perhaps they were preserving fragments of a forgotten technology. Skeptics reject the idea, citing a lack of direct evidence for advanced tools, insisting that persistence and abrasives like quartz sand were enough. Still, some researchers admit certain tool marks don't fully match copper and sand methods. Recent studies revealing mathematically precise spirals and geometric consistency on artifacts add weight to Hancock's claims. Combined with anomalies like the Sabu disk and ultra-thin drill walls, they hint at an ancient mastery now lost, evidence, Hancock argues, of a forgotten chapter in human technological history. The precision in ancient Egyptian granite work challenges everything we thought we knew about early technology. Whether it was inherited from a lost civilization or represents vanished techniques, the evidence urges us to rethink the past. If you found this exploration fascinating, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries. Thanks for watching.